Take it away.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Social Ninjas podcast, where we are normalizing the conversation around mental health. Also, we are a big support of self-improvement, where we support you in growing 1% better each and every single day. I'm with my co-host here, Kyle. What's up, Kyle?
Hello, social ninjas.
Also, we have a special guest. His name is also Kyle. So I'm so excited to be hanging out with Kyle's. But our special guest is Kyle Lasota. What's up, Kyle Lasota?
Hey, what's going on?
I know you're the sleep master, but for other people who are curious who you are, who are you? What do you do? Tell us about yourself.
Yeah, for sure. So my name's Kyle. I'm 27 years old. I live in San Diego, and I am a video marketer. I'm a storyteller. I'm a biohacker, and I am a sleep optimizer and a lifestyle enthusiast. I wear many hats. I do many things, and I love all of them. And I'm very excited about what I get to do. But yeah, I mostly make videos about living a healthy lifestyle and teach people how to lower their stress, optimize their sleep, and yeah, just genuinely enjoy life a little bit better by feeling good inside their body.
Beautiful. Let me just jump on into the deep end. What got you into wearing all these hats? And from there, maybe you can tell us a little about some of your favorite tips to give to people.
Yeah, absolutely. So when I was growing up, I knew I wanted to be a videographer, and I went to film school. I quickly realized that a lot of the filmmakers were broke. So I went into business. I started learning business, and I did that for a couple years. I learned some marketing and some sales and some influence and a couple other soft skills. And that eventually led to me becoming a copywriter, and I got really good at writing copy. And I didn't have boundaries though. And I would work, and I worked for 500 days in a row without ever taking a day off, and I eventually burned out. At the time, I was 21 years old. I thought I had life figured out. I was making good money. I had just got a new apartment in Newport Beach, and I was just starting my life as an adult. I had been traveling for a while, and I decided to settle down in Southern California. And that apartment that I moved into had a mold infestation. And I didn't know it because I couldn't see it. But a couple other things happened. I got food poisoning when I was in Budapest, and I was staying out late and pushing basically on all cylinders, a lot of stress. And my life sort of collapsed in a moment of heightened stress. And what I didn't know at the time was that I was having my first panic attack. And that led to a string of me going to see different doctors, all of them not being able to find out what was wrong with me. I ended up spending all my money trying to get back my health and figure out what was wrong with me. And I broke the lease on my apartment. I moved back in with my grandma, and I exited all the stuff I was doing business-wise, and I emptied my bank account, and I was left with nothing. And I was trying to heal, and I was doing everything I could, and I was seeing all different types of specialists and doing all the weird things that wherever your mind could go about the weird things one could do to try to fix their health, I was doing them. And I read on a blog post from Paul Chek that the reason why I was experiencing the symptoms that I was experiencing because I wasn't following, quote unquote, my purpose. And at the time, in that moment of desperation, I feel like I just needed something to give me a stable idea to hold on to that would give me hope. And so I believed in that. And so I picked up a camera and I started making videos. And the camera started to take me around the world pretty quickly. And I was still dealing with health issues, but I said, look, the worst thing that could happen is I'm going to end up right back where I am, which is at grandma's, broke, alone, and sick. So I just was managing my health while I was on the road, but I had to structure my business in a way where it would be able to take care of me and my lifestyle and my health at the same time, and also fulfill on this spiritual path of following my purpose So I had to find a way to make that work. And the way that I did that is by helping entrepreneurs tell their story and creating a high ticket offer that could support my lifestyle. Meaning I could do 1 or 2 projects in a month and be good. I could keep my stress low. I could make enough money and I could take care of myself and that would be it. I did that for like 3-4 years. And I started becoming more successful and I started to heal and I started to get better. My anxiety went away. My stomach issues were improving. My skin got better. Like all the weird stuff that was happening was starting to heal. And I was still not in the perfect business model though. And I had to find a way to be more in alignment, because I was working with these entrepreneurs and they were great. And I wasn't buying their products and services. And I was so passionate about health. So eventually I came to the conclusion that why don't I just like work with companies that are selling products that I personally use, because then I can market them myself. And that's when I started building an audience. And that's when I started putting out content so that I could partner with these health and wellness companies that I've vetted, that I've done my diligence on. And when I started to put out content, I saw this huge gap in the marketplace around sleep. And to jump around the story a bit, at the beginning of the year, I went 4 years not knowing that I had a really severe mold infection. At the beginning of 2020, I got tested and it came back, and now I knew what I needed to do. So the first thing that I did was really optimize my sleep, because I knew that I could do all the biohacking stuff and all the different things, supplements and all the different things to improve my health. But if I didn't have the foundation built, then nothing was going to get better. And I knew that sleep was the precipice by which everything was going to be built. So I was working with this guy, Sam Ovens, at the time, a couple months prior to that, who runs a company called consulting.com. And I was in one of his masterminds that people pay a lot of money to be in. And we spent an entire day talking about sleep. And he said this one thing to me that I'll never forget, which is, if you can't go to bed and wake up at the same time every day, how could you expect to do anything great in this world? And I believe that's an oversimplification, but the way that he said it at that time, it really spoke to me and like pierced my soul. And in that moment, I knew that that was something that I had to really understand at a very deep level, and I had to practice. And as I started to practice, I started to reveal that there was so much more available to me on the other side of great sleep. And when I looked around, I saw everyone else, like no one was sleeping the way that I was sleeping. And I had data to measure how good it was and quantify it. And my life really started to change after that. So that's sort of the short version of a lot of things of how I ended up here.
Wow. Can you go ahead and just tell us the entire thing, but the long version, please?
Yeah.
So, so someone is listening to this right now and they're thinking, all right, well, I just get 8 hours of sleep. Like, and then biohacking, I've heard of biohacking because we're having a guest coming on soon named Dave Asprey, does Bulletproof Coffee. He's all about biohacking. Can you tell us a little bit more about what biohacking is and some support on someone who wants to get their sleep down to a science?
Yeah.
And its benefits, maybe?
The way that I look at biohacking is basically, it's taking responsibility for your health, and it's quantifying the things that you're doing to make sure that they're actually moving the needle. And it involves a lot of self-experimentation and testing. So for me, in the context of sleep, what biohacking could look like for you and your listeners is you get some type of sleep tracking device. Could be an Oura ring, could be a BioStrap, could be a Whoop strap, could be there's like one other sleep tracker that I might recommend, but those are really the 3 main ones that are actually relatively accurate and have proper metrics and data. And the first step would be to just really take stock of where you're at, because there's a big difference between getting quote unquote 8 hours of sleep and sleeping the way that I'm sleeping. So when you get an Oura ring and you can start seeing your data, what you're going to realize is that even though you think you're getting 8 hours of sleep, the time that you're actually asleep is probably not 8 hours. It probably takes you some time to fall asleep, and then you probably lay in bed a little bit before you actually get out. And in the night, you might be waking up. So a lot of people wake up to go to pee, or they're just tossing and turning, or they're a light sleeper, or they have sleep apnea, or a whole bunch of other things. Or they're having weird dreams and they're waking up, right? And so all that time you're not actually getting proper sleep. And there's different stages. There's deep sleep, there's REM sleep, and there's light sleep. And so when we're looking at the data, we can start optimizing those, especially deep sleep and REM sleep is when most of our recovery and our restoration is going to happen and the healing takes place. So if we wanted to improve that, the first thing that I would do would be to set your circadian rhythm, meaning to wake up at the same time and go to bed at the same time and be in a natural rhythm with the sun. And you can go to a chronotype test. You can just go Google chronotype test, and you can take a test and you can find out what type of sleeper you are. And some people are night owls, some people are early risers, and some people are hybrids. And you can set your circadian rhythm. So first off, a little disclosure, this is not medical advice, but this is what I did, and this is what people can do if they want to set their own circadian rhythm, is you can do a 24-hour fast, and then you use your meal timing, your light exposure, and movement to lock in that rhythm. Meaning, I'll eat, if I wanted to set my circadian rhythm, I would not eat for 24 hours. I would just drink water, and then I'd have dinner at like 6 o'clock or 5 o'clock. I want to eat as far away from my sleep time as possible. So I go to bed at about 9:30. So I want to eat somewhere between 4:30 or 5. Like that's ideal for me. And we can get into that later about why that's important. So I'll have my last meal at like 5:30. I'll fast for 24 hours, and then I'll have another meal the following night at 5:30. And then I will eat breakfast at the same time, and I'll eat lunch at the same time the following day after that. The first thing that I'll do is I'll go outside and I'll expose my body to sunlight, and I'll watch the sunrise. And then I'll go for a little walk, or I'll do some type of gentle movement. If someone just did that, it would completely transform their sleep patterns in a super powerful way. And I'll just leave it there for now, and we can go into more depth, but I want to leave room for questions because I know that's kind of a lot.
Yeah, and I think this podcast episode is perfect because I didn't sleep very well last night.
Got it.
And I'm going through it in my head. I'm thinking, oh, is it because I had a lot of snacks before I went to bed?
Yeah, I mean, we could deconstruct that. Like, I could coach you right now about, like, if you told me what your day looked like, I could tell you where things might have gone wrong and what you could do to avoid bad sleep.
Oh, being called out. Oh yeah, let's do it.
Get him.
So walk me through your day. Like what did your day look like yesterday? And then let's, zero in on sort of the late afternoon and the evening.
Right away, I can already see the errors in my day, so I'm glad we're having this chat. I don't wake up the same time every morning. This is always sporadic. Sometimes I'm not gonna lie, I'll stress eat at nighttime and eat a bunch of snacks and watch TV, and sometimes go to bed at like 11, sometimes 1 a.m., 2 a.m. It's now that I like what I'm saying out loud, so I can really shine a light on how unhealthy it is.
So it's really interesting because, you guys, your podcast is all about mental health, right? And, and the thing that I learned as I got more educated about sleep is that when we get really good sleep, it will start to optimize our hormones, and it will also start to regulate our blood sugar or help us regulate our blood sugar, meaning that when we eat, we won't spike as much, right? There'll be less up and down, and our ability to produce insulin and to control our blood sugar will be much better. And there's been a lot of research, and I've studied a lot of people who have linked a connection between mental health and blood sugar and balanced hormones. And so what I noticed when I started to get really good sleep is that all the mental health stuff that I was dealing with, I mean, the mold infection was a part of that. The gut health was a part of that. But when I got my sleep really good, all that kind of stuff, like it just went away. I feel very impervious to stress. I feel very impervious to anxiety, and I feel very impervious to the things that I used to be a victim to. And actually, I'm about to release a video tomorrow about why I gave up meditation after doing it for 135 days in a row. And the reason being is because I felt like I was avoiding a deeper issue, being the infection and being the gut health and being the sleep stuff, right? So when I got my sleep really dialed and my meal timing was on point and I was waking up and going to bed at the same time, like it really just kind of like fixed everything, which is really, really interesting. So when we're looking at your day, if you were my client, how I would coach you would be like, okay, cool. First things first, like let's just get you in bed at the same time and up at the same time. The next thing I would do would be like, let's limit your blue light exposure. So let's get you a pair of blue light blocking glasses and let's disconnect from technology 90 minutes before bed, maybe 2 hours. And if you're feeling, you know, like you're trying to go hard. And then let's get you some Himalayan pink salt lamps and let's put those in your bedroom. And, you know, 90 minutes before bed, the overhead lights go off and the salt lamps go on. And now what happens is you're not exposing yourself to blue light anymore. And when we expose ourselves to blue light when the sun is down, it's tricking our brain, telling it not to produce melatonin, right? It interprets the blue light the same as sunlight. Your brain doesn't know the difference. So when you put on the blue light blocking glasses and you turn off the lights and you turn on, you know, more orangish or red light, then your body knows, oh, it's time to start producing melatonin, which will automatically start getting you ready for bed, which will help you actually fall asleep faster.
Where do I get these blue light blocking glasses, or is that just like a terminology?
There's tons of different brands.
Okay.
The one that I'm partnered with is called Swanwick Sleep. And I can send you a link as well to get the ones that I have. There's also ones for daytime when you're on the computer that will help with your eye strain and will actually make it easier to focus and give you more energy through the day. In my experience, that's what I've experienced.
I'm so down. Because I feel like crap today. I'm not gonna lie. I woke up just like fight or flight. You know, looked at my phone, got some like pretty mean message from someone, and it just got me in a spiral of just not the best place.
Yeah. No, it's not good.
So just to make myself look good, I use blue light blocking glasses.
Oh wow, thanks, Kyle.
You probably didn't even know, Jeremy. Sometimes I'm not wearing them right now. I usually wear them all day because I'm on the computer all day. But yeah, they do help. They help a lot. And something I've struggled with historically is doing that 90-minute to 2 hour of no technology before bed. So I'm like, oh, at least I can get the blue light and at least filter some of that out, at least for right now. We'll see what happens in the future.
Yeah, I mean, that was the hardest thing for me to break, was the connection to the screen. And I actually just released a video last week called I tried Marcus Aurelius's evening routine for 7 days. And doing that, one of his first core tenet was to disconnect in his evening routine. And so I'm sure his disconnection would be a little bit different than ours. But what I realized when I was actually able to do it, man, is just how much more peaceful and how much more quiet and how much more space there was in my life. And
Yes.
it was hard to stay awake because I was so relaxed, because I was not stimulated from the technology, from the machine. So I would really encourage you to check this out. Here's a quick hack. So I have set on my phone this tab where it turns my screen red.
What? I see
Oh,
that.
yeah, I have that on my phone.
How did I get that? I don't have that.
I'll teach you how to do it. I'll send you a YouTube video link. I already made a video about how to do it, but this makes it really unattractive to look at my phone. And thus I'm like, okay, once this is on, I'm like, I don't want to look at my phone.
It's interesting. I think of all the times I was forced to not be on my phone and how much happier I was. I think that's one of the indirect things I really love about travel is I don't have internet. I just don't have it. I just only have Wi-Fi. So like when I was in Bali or Ubud, I did a float tank for like an hour, and I was like, and then I did like the same sensory deprivation float tank for 2 hours in Los Angeles. It didn't affect me as much because I had so much stimulation going on. But maybe that's one of the reasons I love travel so much, because I don't have internet unless I'm in Wi-Fi.
I have this theory about travel that the reason why people get so addicted to the feeling of it is because when you get put in a new environment and you don't have the same stimulus, you go into survival mode, which makes you hyper present and hyper vigilant, which essentially is like a super intense meditation. Like you're just here now and you're so present, and that's why it's such an enjoyable experience.
Yes.
That's my theory. I don't know if it's true.
I mean, it sounds legit because it is. A lot of times I don't know where I'm sleeping most of the time until the day of, and where am I going to be tomorrow? I got to figure out where I am. There's no comfort zone. It's raw. So I think there's something to that theory.
Mm-hmm.
It's like it's forcing you to have good habits almost.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a more organic way of living, and when you're in the same environment and you're seeing the same things every day, like your mind can switch off and it can like zone out and it can like go somewhere else. And I think all the stuff that my customers and maybe your listeners can relate to this too is like where I believe a lot of things that we do are motivated by trying to experience a feeling or create a state of being, right? And I think most of the time the state is peace and presence. Like if you go underneath everything, like people are building businesses, people are trying to create more status, people are meditating, people are doing all these different things to create a sensation of peace and presence. And interestingly enough, I have never experienced that feeling, that sensation, than when I'm really well rested, than when I get really good sleep for a couple days in a row. During the beginning of the pandemic, I made this decision that I was really going to use this opportunity of this time to really like change my life and really alter, like get my health to a new level. And when the sleep started to really get to a new level, I remember waking up and just walking around with a smile on my face. And I just felt happy for no reason. And I looked like a crazy person. And my roommates are like, are you okay? And I'm just like, I'm just really happy. I'm just really, really happy. And I didn't know that I could feel that good from just getting good sleep. And I think that's what really motivated this, because I was doing it for myself and I was getting great results and I was feeling amazing. I'm like, everyone's got to feel this, and I was putting out posts about how good my sleep was and like my Oura Ring stats, and they would blow up and people were like, how are you doing this? Blah, 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 and I was like, giving people advice, and I get on the phone with them, and all my roommates were asking me, and I was like, man, I gotta like organize and synthesize this information and put it into something that's like easily consumable for people so that they can experience what I'm experiencing, this peace and this presence, because this is beautiful. This is like amazing.
So what time do you go to sleep and wake up?
I go to sleep at 9:30 and I'm usually asleep by like 9:50, and I wake up anywhere between 6:15 and 6:45. I don't wake up to an alarm. I just wake up naturally.
I was just gonna ask that. Yeah, I've heard that. because then the alarm triggers your fight or flight, which triggers the stress hormone cortisol, and it takes a while to process. Is that correct?
Well, yeah. So the reason why I don't wake up with an alarm is not actually that, is I don't need to. So when you set your circadian rhythm really well, the way that I just described earlier in the show, there's two hormones that are working together with our sleep. There's melatonin in the evenings, which helps us get ready for bed and to stay asleep. And then there's cortisol in the morning, which wakes us up and starts our day, So in the morning, you're supposed to have that spike in cortisol that it's meant to wake you up. So what happens is I wake up on a dime because my cortisol knows exactly when to release. And I know that I'll be up within that window. It's kind of a blessing and a curse, because if I go out and I stay out a bit later than my bedtime, like if I want to go out on the weekends and hang out with people, or
I had that question.
Yeah, or if I'm on a date with a girl or something like that, then it's
I had that question too.
Yeah, I know what's happening, and I'm like, cool. I'm consciously making a decision that I'm about to have some bad sleep, and that's totally okay. Because what happens is I'll stay out later and I'll go to bed later, but I will wake up at the same time. I can't not wake up because I have programmed my biology to wake me up at that time. So I'm basically just accepting okay, I'm getting 6 hours of sleep tonight. But I have a rule, and my rule is that I never get more than 2 bad nights sleep in a row. So if I didn't have that rule, there would be a lot of stuff I would miss out on, and there would be a lot of life that would pass me by because I'm going to bed earlier. And so I don't want to be restricted in that way. I just want to have boundaries for myself, and I also want to have guardrails.
So this is a question that I know Kyle is just really wondering. I'm going to ask for him. What does your morning routine look like when you wake up on a dime at 6:30 a.m.?
Yeah, great question. My morning routine is, first thing I'll do is I'll do a little bit of breath work. I'll do about 3 rounds of Wim Hof. And then I will get a warm cup of water or hot cup of water, and I will walk outside and I'll watch the sunrise for 20 minutes as I listen to a custom hypnosis track that I made for myself that basically programs my beliefs. And then I will come back and
send it to me.
I'll send you the training video on how to make one, because you got to make it for yourself.
Okay. Because I'm this is a perfect timing. I got terrible night's sleep. I'm so thankful I got terrible sleep, so I'm so motivated.
Yes. So in my course, The Sleep Advantage, I have one of the things that prevents people from getting sleep, the root cause oftentimes is their beliefs about sleep and their relationship to sleep. And what I did is I basically recorded a track with my beliefs about sleep, and there's music behind it, and you download it and you can listen to it. So basically you can just download my beliefs and change your relationship with sleep if you have a bad relationship with sleep. But as far as the morning routine goes, after that, I will do a little bit of movement, So I might go for a walk, might do something called prehabbing, which are little isometric exercises. I might do some red light therapy and read for 20 minutes. And then I'll have some breakfast. I have gluten-free granola and some oat milk. And then I get to work. And by that time, it's about 8:30, so it's about hour and a half, 2 hour morning routine.
So before we started the podcast, you and Jeremy were talking about you were the, what did you call it? The Cold Plunge Guy. Tell me more.
Yeah, the Cold Plunge Guy. Yeah, if you type in Cold Plunge on YouTube or Google, you'll find my video. It's the first one. And I, with the health stuff that I was dealing with, I was, number one, I was having a really hard time with stress. I was really having a hard time with anxiety and with panic attacks and stuff. And so a lot of the things that I learned how to do to take care of myself were all like sort of circled around this idea of how do we reduce our stress or increase our body's ability to tolerate stress, basically our body's capacity to handle stress. So I discovered Wim Hof about 3-4 years ago, and I was obsessed with it. I noticed how much it improved my life and how much it improved my mental state and how much it improved my ability to deal with stress. Because what it is it's called hormesis. There's a hormetic effect, meaning you're creating stress on purpose for the body to experience so that the body can adapt. And adaptation can only take place through stimuli and stress. And so if we can stimulate that adaptation in a healthy way where it's not too much, then our body can get better at dealing and coping with stress. So
it sounds similar to, sorry to cut you off, but it sounds similar to traveling.
Yeah.
Like there's so much stress in traveling for me personally.
Yeah. I mean, it is. So I wanted to do cold therapy all the time, but cold showers weren't cold enough. And the ocean was it was taking too much time and you're getting all sandy and it was just a lot. So I wanted a solution for how I could do that. Just quick in, out, done, not very much time, not very much maintenance. And so I built my own cold plunge using a chest freezer, and then I made a video about it, and people love it, and people are building cold plunges all over the world now. And I actually partner with a cold plunge company that builds like really nice ones for like, spas and gyms and super nice homes and stuff. And it's been really fun.
I just get anxiety thinking about a cold plunge. I'm not gonna lie. Like, it does not sound intriguing to me at all.
Yeah.
How do I make it sound intriguing? Because I'm not gonna. I have done like cold showers in the past, and then I got out of the habit.
I the cold plunge, man, it never gets easy, and I think.
Thanks, that's encouraging.
Well, here's how it could be encouraging. The cold plunge never gets easy, and I think that's why it's so important. Is I think life has become really easy for a lot of us. We're incubated in our homes. We got our heaters and our thermostats, and we have our car where there's a heater there, and like we're spending 90% of our time indoors, and there's very little stress, aside from work stress or relationship stress, or maybe a couple other things outside of that. But the stress that we would be under if we were like living in the wild is like much higher, right? And we're exposed to the elements, right? And we have to deal with that. And so our bodies I think it's my opinion that our bodies have become very soft, and they can't deal with much stress. So the reason why the cold plunge is so good is because it's hard and it never gets easier to do. And I think we need hard things in our life if we want to become anti-fragile and we want to continue to grow.
Like it. That makes sense. So I have a question. I'm sure it's had to have come up in some coaching for you. So you talk about there's different types of sleepers, basically. So, night owl, early to bed, hybrid. So like me personally, like I'm one who's, I don't have a hard time going to sleep at all. I can go to sleep at 8 o'clock every night, no problem. On the other hand, my wife, she's more of like a night owl. So what would you say to people that are like, that's, obviously I want to go to bed with my wife every night, but at the same time, I don't want to stay up that late. So like, what do you think is like some strategies or suggestions to like do some sort of compromise, or what would you say, or have you experienced anything like that?
Totally. A couple follow-up questions.
Yeah.
So what time does your wife wake up?
Well, I guess it depends if she works or not, but when she works it's 6 o'clock.
What time do you wake up?
6 o'clock.
Okay. So you guys wake up at the same time, you just go to bed at different times?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. And does she have a hard time falling asleep, or does she just like to stay up like late?
I mean, she does like to stay up late, but I think she also does have a hard time falling asleep sometimes.
Cool. So what I would recommend is that you guys do this like sleep optimization thing together, right? And like, so my ex, when I first started dating her, she totally threw off my sleep stuff. And I had to enroll her in this idea that it's going to be really good for us to get great sleep. And I like got her to buy an Oura ring, and she's just, if you get someone to start tracking and they see what's going on, they're going to want to make changes. So that's why that's the first thing I recommend is getting a device to track, because when we start measuring things, behavior change becomes automatic, right? Once we bring awareness to something, the behavior will begin to change, right? Because when you see the bad numbers and you see all the white space and the wake up times and stuff, you want to improve that naturally, right? So that would be my recommendation. And then once you get her enrolled in that idea and say, hey, baby, this is something we can do together, and like really, it's like sales, it's stretching the gap of like where she is now, where she wants to be, and then filling the gap with like sleep optimization, right? And the things that I would recommend are, the blue light exposure, it is the taking 400 milligrams of magnesium glycinate, which is a special type of magnesium that will help you get really, really, really good sleep. If she has problems falling asleep, there's another company, I actually got one of their products right here, Natural Stacks, makes a magnesium blend that is really good for helping people to fall asleep. And then I would engage, I mean, dude, like I would like, like part of having a wind down routine, if you have a partner, is like, having some fun with them, and like making that part of the evening ritual and easing each other into sleep that way, but like having your orange lights on next to your bed, like, or the red lights or whatever, and taking the magnesium and like kind of like timing it and making it into a bit of a fun game. Because if your partner's enrolled in it and it's something you guys are like doing together, then I think that's really the secret sauce, right? Is like when you guys are on the same team and you're going for the same goal, then that's how you get compliance, I guess,
I love how Kyle's wearing a sweatshirt that says I'm on your team right now.
This is to my wife. Well, I'm glad I got some coaching and not just Jeremy. But yeah, I could definitely do that. I'm a marketing guy, so.
Yeah. Just stretch the gap for her,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So if I don't have trouble sleeping, do I still take magnesium?
Yeah. So here's what I noticed with that particular. So it's called Kal brand magnesium glycinate. And what I noticed from my Oura Ring scores, and this is very quantified, is that I will get about double the deep sleep just by that one hack alone.
Cal, magnesium,
glycinate.
Is there a certain amount of grams?
Yeah, I take 400 milligrams. It's going to be different doses for different people, but I would start with that. That's just one pill. And
take it right before bed or when?
About an hour before bed. So my deep sleep went from about 90 minutes to 3 hours just by that one thing. So that is a very powerful little hack that if you implement it, you'll see immediate change.
Yeah, I'm sure you felt the difference on that for sure.
Oh yeah. And that's the thing when we're talking about like sleep optimization, it's about like efficiency. Like what is the quality, not necessarily the length. I do believe in getting 8 to 9 hours. Like that is what I believe is best for most. There maybe are some outliers, but 80-20, like you want to definitely get 8 to 9 hours, but it's about actually getting 8 hours, not being in bed for 8 hours. And then the quality of those 8 hours being really, really good, meaning high deep sleep and high REM sleep, right? So my numbers are really good. 3 hours of deep sleep is crazy. Like that's what you're looking for. And then like an hour to 2 hours of REM sleep is going to be great too. And I think that if you can quantify and you can look at the data, then that's what you're going to want to optimize for. When you're getting that level of sleep, you're going to get those, you should have those experiences that I was sharing of peace and presence and calmness and resilience and just happiness for no reason.
I like happiness for no reason. It's a good goal.
Yeah.
Sure.
I feel like I have to work for my happiness, like practice or something. Like meditation, I got my exercise, I got my don't look at my phone right when I wake up, all the different things I'm pushing towards. I usually, for falling asleep, what helps me a lot of times is just a guided meditation. I usually fall asleep in the middle of it.
That's great. I mean, when I'm talking about eating routines, I'm telling people like, look, like some type of breath work or meditation or sex or like reading like a novel or a story or listening to an audiobook that's not business related, that's not personal development. Like those are usually the things that I point people towards first, because it is so relaxing and so soothing that our body we just get out of our head, like anything that's going to help you get out of your head is going to.
Oh, you're like explaining it like it's so funny. I didn't notice. I don't think I made a change. Like for example, when I do the dishes at nighttime, I have my earbuds in and listen to like self-improvement and stuff. And I noticed it was really grueling. And then recently I changed it to music, and I would dance around and do the dishes, and it was so much more enjoyable.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I even have a playlist that I put on sometimes when the lights go off. It's a playlist that has like lo-fi music. I don't know if you've ever listened to lo-fi, but it's very relaxing and it's very like soothing. And I also have like Portuguese jazz and like some random stuff, but it's just like it puts you in a mood, and the mood is to chill out and to relax and to wind down, so I think that's a great hack too. I talk about this in the course, which is, so there's three things that I guess is my signature system. The first part is setting the circadian rhythm, which we talked about. The next part is about creating what I call sensory anchors. And sensory anchors are basically things that we can use to trigger our senses, that we can anchor to a routine to get us ready for bed, that prime us to get ready for bed. And the other thing that I talk about is creating a sleep oasis, which is designing your bedroom in a way so that it feels like you're walking into like a spa, or you're walking into an oasis, like it's like a retreat. So I talk about, essential oil diffusers, diffusing some lavender to get your scent going, putting on some lo-fi music, and I can share the Spotify playlist with you because I know you're about to upgrade to premium anyway. And and I turn on my Himalayan pink salt lamp, so I'm seeing now orange light, right? Or I'm putting on my blue light blocking glasses, so I'm seeing orange light. I'm taking magnesium glycinate so that I'm physically, my body is biologically and physically starting to relax, so that's kinesthetic, right? And then the other thing that I do sometimes is I'll drink some like reishi mushrooms, right? So a little bit of taste, or some chamomile tea I know people really like. And then I take a cold shower. And this is an interesting one about the cold shower. The cold shower, I do it for about 2 to 3 minutes, just enough to make my core body temperature cool. And what this does is it actually will keep you asleep much better, right? A lot of the reasons why you shouldn't exercise before bed or you shouldn't eat before bed is because that raises your core body temperature, and that is going to keep you awake and it's going to make you restless during the night. So one of the kind of counterintuitive things I do is I take a cold shower before bed, and a lot of people think that'll wake you up, but it really.
I'm one of those people who think that.
Yeah. So, but it really does the opposite.
Until now.
Yeah, because it does it keeps you cool, and that's really important to sleep hygiene.
And I want to be cool.
You do want to be cool. You are cool, Jeremy.
Thanks. Thanks, Kyle.
Yeah.
You're welcome. So I have one other question before I get to my last question. Oh, anyways, what do you think is like the best temperature to sleep at?
It's a great question. I shoot for 65 to 70 degrees in my room. Anything colder than that, and it becomes like uncomfortably cold for me, and I feel like it actually negatively impacts my sleep, and I'm like shivering under the sheets, you know, and I'm like I find myself waking up because I'm cold. So, and anything above that is just not optimal. Like, so I shoot for 65 to 70.
Nice. Yeah, I can attest to that. We switched to like 68 from 72 a couple of years ago. And it was crazy. Just that one little shift, like that made a huge difference. I slept so much better now.
Oh my God, dude.
Although last night, well, I live in Indiana, so it's like cold over here now. But I accidentally left the AC on last night, and I woke up in the middle of the night, and it was 62 degrees. Oh my God, I was so uncomfortable.
Yeah, yeah, that's too much.
How many salt lamps do you have?
I have 3.
All in your bedroom.
Yeah, so I have 2 next to on either side of my bed, and then I have 1 in my bathroom, so that when I go into my bathroom at nighttime, I can just turn that on and I can still see, and I don't have to turn on the overhead lights.
Okay. I'm gonna sleep so well in that.
I'm about to get on Amazon, just buy a bunch of sleep stuff. We're gonna get the Aura Ring, the lamps,
Oh, wow. Get it, Kyle.
another pair of blue light glasses for the wifey.
There you go.
That's right, babe. You're gonna be doing this. What? So,
Yep.
one question we like to ask all our guests is, if you had the ability to send one message to everybody in the world, what would it be?
No pressure. Right now, or like in this present moment, what was the message I would send to them?
Sure.
Whatever feels more true to you right now in this moment, yeah.
I think the message that I would send to them is just in the vein of what we're talking about. It's like, I think the world would be a much better place if everyone just got a little bit better sleep. And I would just say what Sam Ovens told me. You know, if you can't go to sleep and wake up at the same time every day, how can you expect to do anything great in this world? So go get some sleep.
Nice. Well, with that, good night. So, where can people find you at, Kyle? Website, social media, all that good stuff.
Yeah, best place to find me is on YouTube, which is youtube.com/Kyle Got Camera, like got milk, GOT. And it's where you can find me on any other social media too, is Kyle Got Camera. And then my website is thesleepadvantage.co. If you want to learn more about sleep, if you want to optimize your sleep, then I would highly encourage you to check that out. And yeah, let me know how it goes.
Sweet. Well, thank you, man, for coming on. We really appreciate it. I love this talking about sleep, and I'm excited to start optimizing it a little bit more myself. So
I'm excited for you, man. And we can take this offline and we'll do a little bit of coaching and talk through some stuff.
shall we?
Thank you. Until then, give the Social Ninjas podcast a 5-star, 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 and we'll see you all next week. Sleep well.